Everybody has a story to tell, and there's so many different ways to tell it, whether it's singing or dancing or drawing or even writing. Today, we get to meet an author who has so many incredible stories to tell. I'm your host, Gabriella Graves. Let's go! I'm so excited to introduce you to the award-winning young adult fiction author, Miss Sandra Fernandez Rhoads. Hello, Sandra!
Hello, hi.
I'm so excited for you to be here and to get to talk to you today. So I know that you're an author, so what exactly does that mean? What do you do?
I write books, essentially. I write and create worlds in my head. I create characters, put them in situations, impossible, difficult situations that they have to overcome, and just love to build stories with adventure and action, and I love classical literature. I kind of weave that into my stories as well, but I write books.
So have you always loved writing, or what made you want to become an author?
I had started writing pretty much when I was probably 7. I started writing stories first in my head. I did a lot of imaginary play.
Yes, it's always so fun.
It is. I'm one of 5. And I kind of would always go off and play by myself. And so I would create worlds on my own. So when I actually could spell and start putting words together, I would write stories in spiral notebooks. And they were usually about discovery and adventure and learning new things, falling into new worlds. And I have always written just pretty much for myself.
Do you have a favorite author, or what really got you interested in writing?
Really, my favorite authors are poets. So, because I grew up reading classical poetry, I didn't have access to a library or a lot of books, so I kind of had to have what was on hand. And I happened to have a book of like the 101 famous poets, which is really dry reading, but you know, they're like, hey, this is good. That's right.
Yeah, so
my favorite poet is Milton, John Milton, who wrote a poem called Paradise Lost. But as far as like writers, I love, like modern writers, I love Suzanne Collins. So I loved Hunger Games. I love the books. Those were great.
Some of my favorites.
And I loved James Dashner's Maze Runner.
Yes.
That was a good one too. And the Divergent series. So I love a lot of young adult. I do read a lot of young adult books.
Which it seems like you combined both of these worlds into your book, where we have classic literature and we have classic art, but it mixes with this kind of interesting, keeps you on the edge of your seat young adult fiction. Sandra released her first book, Mortal Sight, in April of 2020. How did you first come up with the story?
The story just really kind of came up as this idea of feeling like I didn't belong and feeling like everywhere I went, I was a misfit. And I grew up that way. That's how I kind of grew up in this world. That's why I wrote a lot of stories, because stories were always a way for me to work out my emotions. And I didn't have a large friend group, and so my friends were in my head. They were my imaginary friends.
Imaginary friends are the best.
They are the best, and they do amazing things, and a lot of them are in my books. But so I really would use writing as kind of a way to work out a lot of those emotions and feelings, and kind of telling a story without it being me, doing it through the characters that I created. So the idea was that she didn't belong, that there was this girl that she felt like she didn't belong, and so that was really it came from a what if question, which is where a lot of stories will come from. A lot of stories will, what if the moon fell? And that was really how this one started.
Hey guys, let's go sing a little bit. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. Oh, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me, stand by me.
If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me.
So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Oh, darling, won't you stand by me.
What a great song. All right, let's get back to the story.
Is there a specific writing process that you go to? How do you start with a story?
You just start wherever the idea comes from you. That's how I do it. Like if I have an idea, like for Mortal Sight and Realms of Light, I had the end first. So the end scene was what came first to me, and I wrote that out. And then I'm like, okay, well, here is how it ends. Yep. I got to figure out how she gets there and how that all happens. Writing for me is a journey, because sometimes I kind of know in the general direction of where I'm going, but I never really know what's going to happen along the way. I just write and like I said, just to kind of see where the story is going and what it wants to say.
I love that. So you're learning about this world as the characters are learning about the world and as it's coming together. That's such an interesting way to write, and I absolutely love that. That seems like it's got to be a lot of fun. Did you know you wanted to be an author when you went to college? Is that what you studied?
I studied English, so English literature. So I read a lot of the books on my bookshelf were actually my classroom textbooks that I was required to read. So I did do a lot of reading. Yes, I still have them, I know.
That's awesome.
I know,
that's
I
really
have all
fun.
my notes and everything in there. It was daunting to think of writing an entire book.
Yep.
So I did not set out to be an author, but I always wanted to be a writer. After having written a novel, I have to say that this hard work, but it is probably the most fun.
You do such a great job of making that world just jump off the page. It feels like you get sucked right in and you can see everything that's happening around you.
And that takes a lot of help from other people, because you're in your own head and you're writing and you know where everything is, and so that is actually, I owe that a lot to my critique partners and beta readers. You may do your initial rough draft by yourself, but really getting your story out into the world, it takes a lot of people to get a book published.
When you publish a book, that takes a lot of courage, that after all of this time revising and reviewing and writing and creating this world, you're finally putting it out there for the rest of the world and for all these people to see. That takes a lot of courage, and that's what our show is all about. It's about being courageous and doing the courageous thing. Was there a time that you really had to step up and have courage when you're writing?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, when I first wrote the draft, I remember somebody telling me, and this is the one for anybody who is thinking, hey, you know what? I have a story I want to tell. The one thing that she told me is, and it will stick with me forever, she said, finish the draft. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be amazing. Just finish the draft, because only 3% of people ever finish the novel that they started. It took courage, it took dedication, it took perseverance. The courage to believe, hey, this story has enough value for me to spend my time not watching TV, not doing all the other things, or just that you can spend your time doing.
Yeah, of course.
But to pour into this this story that I want to tell. But it takes courage when you feel like you have a story that you want to share, and some people don't know. Like for me, I'm like, I just have this story that I want to share. I don't know if it's any good, but I just feel like I just want to share it. And I think that takes courage, because you feel like you have something you want to share with the world. And I think a lot of times what we find out is the world needs to hear that story.
If we have people that, if they have a story that they want to tell and they don't necessarily, they either can't write or they don't want to write, what are other ways that they can express themselves and they can tell their stories?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question, because storytelling isn't just writing. Everybody can tell a story. I believe, and I think we've talked about this quite a bit, one of the things that I believe is that we're all gifted in some capacity, whether your gift and your passion is writing or dancing or art or singing. For some people it's paper crafts. It could be any cooking. I know some that's cooking and gardening, and it could be any number of things. But I do believe that everybody is gifted and everybody has a gift, and you know what that gift is. You do. In your heart, it's that one thing that you say, well, you know what, I've always wanted to, or I wish I could. That is the seed that I think you've been given.
Right.
And you build on that and you work on it. Is it going to be perfect the first time? No. Is it going to take a lot of practice? A lot of just working through and trial and error? Yes. But what I believe is that we all have a gift. And I believe that we are given that gift because we have to give it back to the world. Because there is somebody, even if it's just one person, and that's what I believe. Like the stories that I write, if it affects one person and it changes one person's life, and they say, you know what, I belong, I see myself in that, I connect with that, I want to do that, then that is the whole reason why you were called to create what you create and use that gift. But I believe you don't hold the gift, you pour it out and give it back to others.
And I love that. That is great. So thank you for sharing that.
Hey, let's take a break and listen to the story I Am Courage, A Book of Resilience by Susan Verde.
Hey there, my name is Amari McCoy, and I'm going to be reading you I Am Courage. Okay, let's start the book. There are challenges in front of me. I feel unstable, like I might fall. And I think about turning back or giving up when my mind tells me I can't. I look inside myself and find the strength that lives deep down. And I tell my mind, yes, I can. I have faith in what's possible. I accept the challenge and keep going on. I move ahead one breath at a time. I act with bravery. I am courage. I can trust what my gut is telling me. I believe in myself. I can feel scared, but still carry on. I persevere. I can tumble and still get up again. I am resilient. I lean on those around me. I'm not afraid to ask for support. I can encourage another when there is doubt. I am uplifting. I know there's no shame in sharing. I tell my story. I can step in when others are struggling. I know how to help. I can be one to clear the way for someone else. I am an example. When I feel uncertain and start to lose my balance, I find my center and gather my strength. I know what I am. I am courage. And I can keep on going. We can all keep on going. We are strong. We are capable. We are important. We are courage. And we are triumphant. Thank you for sticking around. Bye.
Now let's get back to the interview. I know that you talked about everyone has a gift and everyone has stories that you can tell, and you touched on this a little bit. You said that people can use singing and dancing and drawing and all these different ways to tell stories. Do you have a couple different ways besides writing that you can tell stories?
I do. I have been trying to. I love music, and I do sometimes pretend to be a musician. In that I am trying to learn the cello. So
you're a musician if you're learning the cello.
I'm trying. I didn't grow up a musician. I did have a piano in my house, and so one of the ways that when I was younger, is I tell story through. I didn't know how to play, like I couldn't read music, but I would just play what I felt, and I felt like I was telling the story through song.
Yes.
I'm really just kind of tapping into that emotion. I will, you see my colored pencils.
Yes.
I do color, I do draw a little bit. I'm not, a lot of times it's just doodles or...
doodles are always
good.
Doodles are always
amazing.
fun.
Doodles are amazing.
Yes.
I think that there's so many different ways that people can tell a story in so many different forms of art.
Yeah. I know we've got some younger kiddos watching this, and so I would say if you have a story that you want to tell, you don't have to draw an elaborate picture or write a big story. It can be as simple as you're humming a tune and you can tell your mom and dad what is the tune about? Or if you have something that you're feeling, getting some crayons and a piece of paper and just drawing or using colors to make the page colorful with what your emotions are. It's as simple as that, and that little thing can tell a story about what you're feeling or what you're thinking and just invite other people into your world.
I love, and this is the beauty of art, is that you create something, and when you create it and you put it out in the hands of other people, whether it's just a drawing with crayons, and then somebody says, oh, tell me what this is, then what they're doing is they're creating art with you because they're seeing your world and they're filling in other areas. And so that's the beauty of, I think, art, is that it speaks, might sound a little weird, but it speaks a different language.
It does.
So
I would agree with
speaks
that.
a language that I think words can't. So even words in a book, when you're creating an image, it can get to places where just spoken word can't go. And I think that, to me, is what's so powerful about art and artists.
And everyone can see art differently, and so they can take it in different ways. And the stories, if you line 3 people up in front of a painting and say, what is this painting about? You'll get 3 completely different stories, which I think art is so interesting like that, because everyone has a different take on it. They all see it differently, like what you said. And so if you have a story, if you draw a picture and you're showing it to someone, they might see the story a little bit differently than how you see it. But that's so interesting to be able to take what other people see and to kind of work together and create stories together and see how they might be similar, but they might be different. It's a really cool collaboration of how people see things differently.
And everybody has a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell, even if it's just a little thing that happened in your day.
Do you love music like I do? Oh, good. Let's go sing a little.
I am happy to believe a unique creation made so perfectly. Nothing will take away my individuality. Oh, I am so glad God made me me. Won't ever let the world try to tell me to be someone else. I know exactly who God made me, so I'll be myself. I'm happy to believe a unique creation made so perfectly. Nothing will take away my individuality. Oh, I am so glad God made me me. God created me with a purpose from the very start. to be me. A unique creation made so perfectly. Nothing will take away my individuality. Oh, I am so glad God made me me. I am so glad God made me me.
Oh, that was great. Let's get back to the story.
So Sandra, if you could just speak from the heart, what is it that you would want to say to our viewers?
Well, I would say that it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. Everybody has a story to tell. You have a story to tell. And I would just encourage you to find your passion, find what it is that you get excited about, and that art or dancing or drawing, music, and whatever it is, and just go after it and tell your story, because I think that everybody has a story to tell, and it's an important one, and that other people need to hear that story, and it's healing not just for you, but it also helps heal other people. And I think that is what's important. And I think the world needs creatives. The world needs artists right now. They need you. They need you to create that one thing that's been in the back of your mind where you're saying, oh, I don't know, maybe I could do this, or I want to do that, or I want to create this. That's what the world needs. And that is what the world is waiting on. And so I believe that artists change the world. And they change the world one story at a time, one drawing at a time, one show at a time. It impacts people. It makes people feel, it makes people see the world in a different way. And that's power.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel like that goes right along with our show and talking about being courageous and sharing people's stories who are living courageous lives. And I feel like you're doing just that. So thank you so much for letting us talk to you and interview you today. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
What a great interview. I hope it inspired you to tell your own unique story. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check out our next episode, but until then, remember, you are strong and courageous.
This has been an I Am Courageous television production.
To purchase your copy of the Colliding Line series, visit sandrarhoads.com.
I Am Courageous is supported by viewers like you. To learn more, visit IamCourageous.net.